Alright, this question is best as calculator. So you're given a string s and that is represent the expression. You want to evaluate it and then return the value. So the integer division should truncate towards 0, and this is a range. So yeah, basically just elementary math. There are some spacing in an expression. What you need to do is just truncate those spacing. Alright, so this question is pretty hard. I'm telling you, and then your for symbol operation, operators, sorry, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. The first integer cannot be negative. So I have tried to put a negative value in the beginning. It doesn't work. So I'm not negative value in the range, so it has to be positive, right? So that's pretty much it. So let's look at the component. It's pretty popular. So also what at least this person post in 2023 and 2025 you still have this question doing an interview for Apple, Google, Adobe, and etc. So that's why I want to bring this up. Alright, so how do I do this is the problem. You have two ways. The first way is iteration, like traversing and then truncate every single operator with the integer into one, and then add or subtract or multiply or divide later. So, or the recursion solution. I probably would just start with recursion solution. This might be easier to understand the idea first. So I'm going to replace all of the space in the beginning, it doesn't matter it's beginning or ending, like any space in the string. I'm going to replace all of the space to empty, and then since the multiplication and where is it? Multiplication and division, they have higher priority than plus and minus. So I will have to deal with this first, and then before the notification and after, before the multiplication and after the multiplication, or before the division and after division, it has to be an integer, right? So this is something I know, and same thing for the addition and subtraction. So they are definitely integer that you add or subtract, right? So if you know the programming language Lisp, so Lisp is the insane language, but anyway, if you know this language, you probably will have a little bit idea how to write the solution in recursion way. So I'm going to create an index. So index will initialize by 0, and then I would just have to replace whole entire string space. Please like this space. Whole entire replace all of the space in empty, and then return. I'm going to call evaluate expression, passing the s, and I'm going to just say evaluate expression string s. So the expression can be anything. So I would just have to say so evaluation can be, so evaluation is whole, the whole entire the combination of addition, multiplication, subtraction, or division, right? So you want to truncate to the term. So this is whole expression. You truncate to the term. So what does term mean? Term you can represent, x multiply y, x divided by y, and for the plus and minus, I'm going to deal that in here, because while you are doing a recursion, this will always, this will have to go first, right? So in the turn, I will do the find numbers. So I'm telling you that you will definitely understand what I meant. So I'm going to say result equal to evaluate turns. I pass an s, and then I will say public in evaluate turns string s, and then now I just have to get the first integer, so evaluate numbers, right? And int evaluate numbers. So the integer right over here can be 10, can be 100, can be anything, right? So it doesn't have to be length of one digit. So we'll start from 0, return nums. So while my index is less than s dot length, and also the current character at this index is digit, then I would do basically just adding. But you want to convert a string to the integer, that's pretty challenging, right? So we do one at a time. So num will become num times 10 plus the s dot chart at index. So this is a current char. I want to minus 0, then increasing the index right here by 1. So this is how you do every single time when you're doing the next iteration. Alright, so once I have this, I will do while does my index is less than s dot length, because this is a recursion descending, right? You are returning from the recursion, right? You want to check is your index is less than s dot length. And then now the problem is, once you break out the value, it has to be an operator, right? It has to be. So char op equal s dot char at index, and then I will have to know, does my op is equal to multiplication or division, right? So op, if op doesn't equal to multiplication and op doesn't equal to division, you can break. So I'm forcing this operator to be the multiplication or division. So in other words, you can definitely write at least, I believe. Okay, so I want to deal with this, and I'll take out the break, and then I'll just say index will increment, but let me just return it. Probably this will be easier for me to code, but I will make the update later. So in this way, I'm dealing with the multiplication and division. Just think about this scenario, and then I will say, okay, now I want to find out what is my next number. So I will say int next number. I already know my operator, right? I increase my index to move forward from the this operator to the number, right? So I would say evaluate numbers based on s. So if operator is equal to multiplication, literally, like, I just have to say result multiplied by the next number, and then the vice versa for division is going to be divide, then you'll return result. Alright, once this is finished, the remaining code in the evaluate expression is going to be the same, but you are going to deal with addition and subtraction. So char op index, and then if op does not equal to plus, op does not equal to minus, and now I want to break, and then I'm just copy over it, it's fine. So if this is plus, then I do plus. If this is minus, I do minus. So we are in an evaluation expression, right? What we can do is we want to know the term. Term can be anything, right? We cannot just directly get the evaluated number right here. We still need to do step by step. So the multiplication division will have to, will have to go first, right? So you cannot just get a number right away. Probably this will be like, something like this, right? You want to know like the multiplication division will always go first, and then later on you will just say return result. So hopefully, evaluate, okay, spell wrong. Evaluate, submit. Alright, so for time and space, this will consider all of n, traverse all of a char to replacing space into empty. So ideally this is all of n already, and everything else, like, you should be still all of n. Like this is all of n for sure. You're traversing and then expression, evaluate expression and something like this. Alright, now I want to do something that I was planning to do. I believe this will work. So it will be the same thing for here. Hopefully it's working. Probably I want to take this. Alright, so there is a condition to probably access earlier. So yeah, just keep it like this, doesn't matter. Oh, no. I just keep it like this, so you can, pass a test case. Alright, so let me just submit again, just in case everything is working. Alright, so now let's rewind to the problem again. Now let's do the stack solution. So the stack solution is basically adding all of the integer value. So 3 plus 2 times 2 and 3 divided by 2, something like this. So what you can do is that you want to consider there's a stack, and then you dump into the stack. When you see plus or minus, any number before him, it doesn't matter. You just dump into the stack, and then every number you see the multiplication or division, you want to hold the integer beforehand before you dump, and this number afterward will later definitely you want to find out a way to multiply together, right, or divide together, and then you dump into the stack, and then you just add when you are popping. So imagine that this stack only allow plus. So when you dump, you can dump the -3 in here, it doesn't matter. But when you are doing one at a time popping, you want to add every single integer together. So you will definitely have the one sec. Alright, so you will definitely have a return result, and I will have to say a num, and also the first character for the op is always plus, stack for integer, right? And for char C A start to char array, so you will traverse the string. However, this might be the case you want to know, like how do you dump the last result, like the last math into the stack. You have no idea besides adding the plus. So when I see the plus, I would push into a stack. So the trick is do like this. So I append a string with a plus and then traverse into character. Alright, so if the C is equal to space, I ignore. And then if the current character is digit, then basically just do the same thing. Time 10 plus C minus 0. C minus 0, yeah. Do I need a space? Yeah. Else, I will just based on the operator, right? So switch based on the operator, and then case by case, right? Minus, multiply, divide. So the case for plus. So I want to add the first one. I add the first one, right? So my default operator is plus, and then I traverse a string. I get a 3, so which is here. And when I see the plus, I'm not using this until I need to use this operator first, because this operator represents the first integer. So this operator will represent the next math, so I would say stack push the num. So I push the num for 3 just because this op, and then I will update my op in here, and then reset my num because I already pushed a 3 in here. I reset my num, and then this will be the same thing for stack push. Actually, I can copy paste. I will push a negative. Alright, then I will do similar thing for multiplication and division. So for the multiplication, what you need to do is you already have the number. So think about this, you already have this number in the stack, and then what you need to do is you already have the num, this num right here for 2, and then what you need to do is that you just pop in your stack from here. Possibly it will be better to understand in this way, because this plus, the first plus, that will represent 3, and then the second plus, that will represent 2. So you add you in the next iteration, you check the op, which is a plus, and you push into a stack. So stack is currently 2. So what you need to do is you want to pop the stack, which is 2, and then times the nums, so that you will get 2 times 2. That will represent 4, right? And then this will be the same thing for the division. So afterward, this will be the whole iteration in the stack. So you will just say, well, stack is not empty, and then you will say result. Do I declare result? Okay, result equal to stack.pop. So this should be the solution. All right, so yeah, a little bit challenge for sure. So I was making a mistake like right here when I'm trying to do the multiplication, but I realized I should using this plus for this integer, And yeah, all right, here's another one, the enhancement for this one, like literally for this one without the stack. So I still have to go back to the diagram, drawing diagram a little bit. So think about this, you do the 3 plus and then you do the 2 times 2. So what happens if you split the expression like this? 3 plus, this will be 1, 2 times 2 plus. You split this expression like this, and then you will be easier to understand like what's the actual currently evaluate current evaluation. So again, the first value for first integer will be 3. I mean positive, so it has to be positive 3. So I do the positive 3 first, and then I'll store this number in the temp. Currently we are trying to do it without the stack, right? So we're doing the temp variable to store the stack value. Alright, so temp will become 3, and then this will be the first, like really first storing the temp before I actually traverse this this plus. So when I traverse this plus, I will have to push this one into the result first, because I know this is going to be a next, like when I cut this off, right? This is going to be a next expression. I don't want to touch this anymore. This doesn't belong to my evaluation expression or term right here. So once I push, right, stack temp will become 0, right? I reset the temp basically, or you can easier understanding the num equal to 0. Doesn't matter it's a temp or num, like you will cut it off, and then you're doing the same thing. You have 2, right? So you're doing the 2, storing a num equal to 2, and then this expression, this operator has to come in this, because I will have to know is this a plus 2 times 2 or minus 2 times 2, right? This operator will have to come, and then you're doing the 2 times 2 with whatever the operator this guy is, and then once you finish this one, you're using the plus to make sure you add in back to the result. So this is really tough, I'm telling you. So in result will become will be 0, and then I will have a num equal to 0, and also the temp initialize to 0 first, and then char operator will become plus, traversing, and then I still need to add a plus at the end to char array, and I'll return result. Alright, I just have to check if c equal to empty. If this is true, I'll continue. If character is digit for c, I basically num equal to num times 10 plus c minus 0. Else switch case for op, case plus break minus multiply divide, and I will do the result plus equal to 10 will become the num. So initially the 10 was initial by 0, and then the first plus we'll have to use in here. So result plus the 0, because the 10 was initially 0, right? And then 10 will reassign back to the num, which is supposed to be 3, right? So this will be the same thing, and then for the result you still want to just add whatever you have for the temp, and then the num will become -1 for the temp. You might be wondering, why do you have a plus equal temp right here? This is because once you are trying to minus something, you want to store whatever num you had beforehand. Like beforehand is something you already push into the stack, so you need to think about this. And then for the reset, so up will reset back to the next C, and then the num will reset back to 0 because you are actually using the temp for the num. So the num will reset back to 0, and then you will do the math again over here. And then the multiplication is basically using a temp. So think about this. Temp doesn't add to the result, right? So you can still using a temp to multiply the num, or temp to divide by the num. Once this finished, you know that you add the temp into a result for the plus and minus, but not for division or multiplication or division, right? But we have a plus right here, right? So at the end, we still want to make sure, do we have anything left over here? So result plus equal to temp. If temp equal to 0, then it doesn't matter. If 10 is something, then we need to add it, right? So let me run it. Maybe I didn't make, okay. Alright, so let me use the debugger just in case we are not, we are on the same page. So let's see, plus 2 times 2. Alright, so I'll do the break here. Okay. Okay, so now we know like the first plus is right here, and my num is still 0, right? And I first 3 is right here, which is current C. Alright, so I do the update for num, which is 3. Alright, the next one, the next iteration, the next index movement, it will be plus for C only. The op is still plus, which is represent this one. What we need to do is we need to add whatever the temp value currently is 0. You add into the result, and then you move the whatever this guy, which is 3, into the temp. Okay. You break, and then you update the operator for the current op. So that will represent C right here, and you update the num to 0. Now the next one is 2, right? So, but don't forget the plus 2 is right here, right? Plus 2 right here. You need to make sure these 3 will go into the result. Yeah, so you go into a result, and your temp will become 2, right? And then you break, and then you reset this one. So your C will represent the multiplication right here. Alright, next. So you are currently at C equal to 2 right here, doing the math again. Alright, so supposedly if you don't have this plus, you should break out the while loop. You should, right? But I add another plus, so it's not showing here, but you need to think about it. There's a plus right here. Well, I mean, this plus will be handled for the op. It looks like I haven't dealt with 2 times 2, right? So 2 times 2 will store into a temp, and then I update my op to be plus. So this looks like it's the last character. So this last character is actually just wrapping up everything is either the multiplication or division. If you do, then you just time or divide or plus minus later. But this plus is actually just for, you know, like clean up the final step. So your temp will become 4, and then this should be break. Boom. So you come here, your num is 0, your 3 is the initial one, your temp haven't add into the result. So even though your current op is plus, right? Doesn't matter. So you're just doing the plus right here. So this should be the solution. 7, right? So for the time and space on this one is without the stack is, you know, constant for the space, all of them for the time, and then with the stack is actually all of n for the space, all of n for the time. So this question is really tough. Ideally, I would suggest you using the recursion solution, but once you understand this, I probably feel like you understand a lot of things. Alright, see you, man.